Oh, well, hey there. Good morning. Good to see you. How you been? That's great. Well, hey, I got a magic trick to show you, and I'm really excited about it. So hurry, finish your bean juice and let's go. Come on, hurry, let's go. Okay, I'm gonna take you backstage a little bit and show you Captain Wishbone's creative world. Now, I don't want to give too many spoilers away. There are things in this world that I haven't shown you yet, but this bad boy is what I brought you here to see. I did realize, though, that if I show you what I want to show you, you may get a sneak peek at something else I'm working on. So give me just a minute, let me draw the curtain here, and we'll be right back. Perfect. Okay, now that that's taken care of, welcome to my villager vending machine where I will show you the magic trick. First, we come over here and we decide which profession of villager we would like to trade with, represented by these fancy colored blocks. And then, magically, the villager gets transported right here before your very eyes. And he's so happy to be there too. So, okay, then once you get done trading, you press this button and you say, "So long, my dear friend. Now I would like to trade with a different villager." And you put his key in there. And then you wait patiently. Wait as hard as you can. And then he comes here for you to trade with. And he's also so happy to be there. Okay, so I bet you are just so anxious to find out how this is done. I would love to show you. So that's what we're going to work on today. Don't go too far. But first, we've had some new move-ins at Social Media Mountain. I couldn't let a single moment go by without celebrating. Do you want some ground cake? Have some ground cake. I'm gonna go welcome the new neighbors. I can't tell you how exciting it is to have you here. It's not much for scenery, but, well, you're gonna, you and Larry are gonna become great friends, I can tell. And I tell you what, you two are in no finer company than these 10 chickens right here. You know, as a once weary traveler myself, I understand the need for family. And that's what you have now. No longer a weary chicken wandering the deserts of Social Media Mesa, but a member of the Social Media Mountain family. Okay, now that we got the welcomes out of the way, let's get back to work. Now, I could go ahead and get started on the build, sure enough. I could build most of it, show you some highlights here and there, and by the end of it, you'd go, "Wow, Captain Wishbone is a genius." But I can't do that to you. I just can't. It's something my father used to say. I remember sitting on Papa Wishbone's lap, and he would look at me in the eye, and he would say, "Captain, you're about to go off into the world and adventure and see new things and learn the ways of this flat earth. But don't forget, when you're a genius and rich and famous and have the Nobel Peace Prize for inventing who knows what, I want you to remember your friends. Teach them the ways. Help them to be as genius as you. For truly you are the world's wisest Wishbone." And then he said, "Here's a nickel. Go buy yourself something nice." So, per his request, let me teach you some redstone. With this contraption specifically, all we're going to do is take something that we do understand, combine it with something else that we also understand to give us a different result. So this build, although it looks really large, it's really just one simple thing next to another simple thing next to another simple thing that all interact to give us our desired outcome. So the first thing we need to do is get an item out of a chest. And to do that, we'll use this cute little guy right here called the dropper. So the dropper, if you have anything inside of it and it gets a redstone signal, it'll spit it out. But as you can see, if the signal is constant and active on it, it's not going to spit it out. So it has to be turned on and then off, and then on and then off. So what we'll do is we have a chest here hooked up to a hopper, which will feed the dropper. And then out the side, it can be this block or this block, not this one. You have a comparator, then a building block of any kind, some redstone, another building block, your repeater pointing in this direction, more redstone, then redstone on top of this one. Then you've got 2 blocks on top of the redstone and the comparator. Okay? Load it up. Look at that! Okay, so now that we got it out of the chest, how do we get it to flow down where we want it? Well, that's where the water comes in, okay? So I've built this little canal out of glass so you can see the items. You don't have to build it out of glass, it's just what I did. And these 2 blocks on top are not just a suggestion, they are a requirement. Most of the time it'll spit out of there and it'll go whoop right over this side, and it doesn't do you any favors over there. We need it in the water. So the item will flow down, and I've noticed that kind of where the water gets shallower, the item starts to slow down and it may not travel across the ice block as fast. So I actually go up a couple blocks and then under the sign, I put ice. Now the sign will stop the water flow. The ice will make the item slide right across and you can make another source block of water to continue the stream. Okay, now you may be saying, well, Captain Wishbone, that's all well and good, but not all my contraptions will be on the same level. What if I have to push the item up or push it down? Well, pushing it down is easy. Just dig a hole. But pushing it up, yeah, I can see why you're a little concerned. So what we'll do is we need to stop the water. Ta-da, use a sign. Push the item across. Use an ice block. Very good. And then behind the ice block, we're just going to drop a soul sand. Okay? Now everything above the soul sand needs to be water source block. So we'll do that, and then you build it up. Little water. Then you build it up one more time. Put your water. Build it up one more time. Put your water. You can do that as high as you want. And another way to do that, if you have a really, really, really long stretch, say maybe from the very bottom of your world up to the surface, you can just pour water down the top, and then in the bottom, plant some kelp, and then bone meal the crap out of it so that it goes all the way to the top. Because when kelp goes through a water block, it becomes a source block. So now we've got it sitting at the top, but the item's just going to bounce. Just going to sit there and bounce on top like that. Okay, so to fix that, we're just going to break this block right here, and we'll let that water just flow down into a new canal. So let's just quickly make a new canal here. Then at the top, we'll just put a little barrier so that the item doesn't bounce for too long. And then we'll break this, see if it works. And that right there is what I like to call a wishbone win, or WW for short. Now remember, the items that we're putting through that system there are pretty specific. We're going to use those to identify what type of villager we want to trade with. So the next thing we got to do is have those items get pulled out of the transportation system at very specific points. So I've come in here and built a little foundation for us. First, you'll want to stop the water source and then break off one of the arms of your canal so that you can get in there and point a comparator in the right direction. Then under the water source, you'll need 2 hoppers. The bottom one points into a chest, and out the back is a T and a tail. Now, I use that little mantra just so I can remember placement. T and a tail, T and a tail. But you don't actually need the entire T to start out with, because you do need to squeeze in here and point a repeater in the right direction, and that's difficult to do with a T complete. So you'll put the repeaters out the back, and you'll put torches on the front, and then you'll come in here and just finish your T, which is probably the most European thing I have ever said in my whole life. Okay, so then you come over here, point comparators out the back of the top hoppers, and then finish the whole top surface with redstone dust. Perfect. Okay, so now all we got to do is lock these hoppers up. So take an item that you don't think you will ever sort through your sorting system, and put one of each of them in each of these 4 slots. Then take 41 items of the thing you do want to sort and put it in that first slot. So we'll go ahead and do that in the rest. All right, so let's load a few things in here. I'm not going to do too many because I don't want to be here till June. We'll see. Okay, look, it's pulling them out at the right spot. Sweet. Yep. And it's kind of hard to see because they're all connected, but you can kind of tell that when an item goes through the hopper, it gets an extra little pulse of redstone out of the back end here. So we're going to use that as well in our contraption. Now I think the last simple thing that we need to know is that we're going to use rails to transport villagers, and those rails can be affected using redstone. We can turn the elbows of the rails different directions, and that'll help us put the villagers right where we need them. And with that, I think we've learned everything we need to learn about redstone to get this thing underway. Papa Wishbone would be so proud. Alright, crew, let's get after it. But first, a slightly sentimental moment as we say goodbye to my very first house. I guess it's not terribly sentimental because 98.99, so this is already gone. But, we'll always remember you. So I think I've got pretty much all the components except for the item transit and the villager transit done. This is how we're going to be able to tell which villager belongs in which cubby. When the villager is missing, I've set up a system so that it will power this rail and turn the elbow this way. So they'll come from this direction and they'll hit the elbow and get put in there. And then once they land in there, this will unpower and it'll turn it to look like this one. So the villagers will come in, and if this one's occupied, it'll just keep on traveling down the road. Now, how did I do that? There's these hooks. Oh. There's these hooks that you can attach strings to. It's like a tripwire. So when anything lands or steps or sits on that hook, on that string, it'll send an extra redstone signal, and I've used a configuration over here. It's like the T with the tail, except for it doesn't have a repeater. It's just got redstone dust. And then right there is a redstone torch instead of the other configuration we have over there. So if my villager was coming along this way, it would hit this and just keep going straight. Is it even really a Minecraft build if you don't run out of materials at least once? Okay, so I got that chest where I want it, and the hopper feeding it there, and the water flowing over the top of it there. And in this case, I am going to use that kelp trick to make all of these source blocks. So instead, I just poured water in the top, and it's flowing down. Oh, it's flowing. Crap. I did not think. Dang it. I didn't close off the bottom. I didn't think about that. Captain Wishbone, you foolish man. I mean, you genius man. You super genius, Nobel Peace Prize winner, because you built everything one block high on purpose for that exact reason. Wow, Wishbone, Captain, sir, you future seer man himself. How did he know? Good job, Wishbone, genius. All right, you ready for a little Wishbone magic? Soul sand goes there. Signs prevent it from overflowing, because Wishbone genius. Then kelp. Then bone meal. Then you break it. Now all of those are floating to the top because... Yep, there it is, right there. So what we're going to do is we'll break this one. And then we're going to... Whoa. Yes, this sign now says... Okay, maiden voyage time. Yeah, woohoo! There we go. Ain't no thing. One more. Big step. Atta boy. There we go. Okay. I wish you the best. I don't know what's going to happen down there. You just let me know, okay? Nothing. Nothing's going to happen down there. Okay. All right. Let's see. Uh-oh. No. Don't you be trying to get out of this. I know. No, stop it. I know. So sad. So long, buddy. Did I have that powered? It was in this moment that he realized he did not, in fact, have that powered. All right. I've got so much power down there, you're going to get whiplash. Go. I'm sure it worked first time. Oh, my sweet, patient viewers. You've lasted so long, but finally I have something to show for it. Here goes my key, and here comes... my villager. Right where he belongs. A good trade for me, and so long. Oh, and then my key has returned back to its original spot. And here he comes again. Oh, it works. Oh boy, I am just so ecstatic that that works in our survival world. We'll have a big old system like this up there soon. But it was so hard to show you what was going on because it was so cramped, and this isn't much better. It's so back to back. So I just broke this off here so we could kind of dissect it. The item comes in the top and it goes through this locked hopper system. You recognize that, the T in the tail. Then an extra pulse gets sent through here, and then this block carries that pulse to the repeater, and then that block pulls it over here, and it unpowers the torch, which allows this to close, and the villager falls through onto this powered rail and gets sent up to where we're at. Then when we're done with the villager up there, we just push the button, and they fall right back down here along this line, and because the villager is gone, The rail is turned this direction so that he will land in the right spot. Once the villager lands in the right spot, it unpowers that because of our tripwires, and then any villager that comes by will just continue on and find their cubby spot. Now at this point, the key that we use to find the villager is in this chest. So in order to get it out, all we did was put another dropper system like we did before, and we used water to send it back up to the chest where it was originally. And then in this creative world, just for fun, I pulled a signal off of that hook so that this lit up when the villager was in his spot, but I don't think I have room for that in our survival world. Well, if you made it to this point in the video, I can't thank you enough. I'm gonna go ahead and make a part 2 where I work with the villagers and show you how to get the trades you want, put some enchantments on your gear, then we'll load them all into the vending machine. It's gonna be great. And don't forget that this is your world and you can tell me anytime what you want to see. You know, and if you want to move into Social Media Mountain, there are links in the description to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course you get a little extra Wishbone street cred if you subscribe here on YouTube. And not only is it free, but we've got some really sweet projects coming up and I just don't want to leave you behind. Thanks again for watching, love you lots, and we'll see you in the next one. Full speed ahead!